Welcome to Smart, Amazing Conversations with Dr. Nancy, a podcast that takes a look at stories of life and leadership for smart, amazing women and men like you.
The way I can give support to the world right now is by showing up. The most important thing is don't think just that you have to bring anything. Bring yourself, show up.
If you are in a position of leadership and a position of management, bring women along with you.
Supporting women is Dr. Nancy's passion and her purpose, and talking with other women and men who promote women's leadership is one of her favorite things to do.
I've yet to meet a woman who did not know what she really wanted. She was just either afraid to ask the questions or she was afraid of what the answers meant.
Their stories connect us and help us understand that the possibilities are endless if we support each other and lift other women up.
Trust is created by persistent identity. I show up in my conversations. I build relationships. I show up as myself time and time and time again. And trust is built. It's one conversation at a time.
Honored by Newsweek as one of the women shaping the 21st century, Tiffany Shlain is an artist, activist, Emmy-nominated filmmaker, national best-selling author, and the founder of the Webby Awards. Working across film, art, and performance, Shlain's work explores the intersection of feminism, philosophy, technology, neuroscience, and nature. Sawyer Steele is an Emmy-nominated film producer, co-founder of Let It Ripple Film Studio, and a creative professional across multiple mediums. He has produced, written, edited, and voiceover directed several award-winning films, including 4 that have premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. He was nominated for an Emmy in the category of New Approaches to Arts and Culture for his work on the series The Future Starts Here, which includes an episode, Trans Boom, where he shares his experience being transgender. Sawyer and Tiffany have been working together for 17 years. Together, they co-founded Character Day and 50/50 Day, annual initiatives that have engaged millions around the globe through a combination of film, live events, and global Q&A. Now here's Dr. Nancy and her guests, Tiffany Shlain and Sawyer Steele.
Welcome.
Oh, we're so happy to be here.
I never ever get to talk to you two. So, I mean, when I think about the two of you, I think about storytellers. When I think about you, I think about historians. And you're activists. You do amazing documentaries. I mean, everything I think about you, and you're both artists, but you're movement makers, you're change makers, and you've been working together forever. And, I first saw the first documentary that you all made in 2016. And ever since then, I've been wanting to get to know you all. And now I'm actually involved with you all, and I'm so excited. And we've got some amazing things coming up. And I think I'll let you talk about them, and then I will just jump in there. But there's some amazing things going on, and I had another podcast earlier today. And what we want more than anything is we want something positive. I think we're all tired of the woe is me or, oh, the weather. I live in California, so people are always saying, I'm so worried about you, the fires, the mudslides. Didn't you have an earthquake? No, I'm fine. The weather is great. In fact, the rain was wonderful and we needed it. So I think we're at a time in our history also, not only do we want to know our history, but we want to have something positive that comes out of this period in our life and our time that makes a difference. And that's what you guys are all about, making a difference and changing the world for good. So, let's talk about this project coming up, because I'm very excited, and being a sponsor of this, and the National Women's History Museum being a sponsor of this, I can't think of anything better I'd like to do than what we're doing together.
Well, first of all, thank you. This is very fun for Sawyer and I to be on podcasts together, because we've worked together for 17 years. I think we're almost at 18 years. I might start saying that soon, but it's, and it's like any relationship. We've been through so many things and we worked so many things out, and there's so many things that we want to do for the world. But we were just saying a couple weeks ago, this new project feels like perhaps the most important thing we've ever done, because, I made this piece of art, Dendrofeminology, a feminist history tree ring, and had this vision of putting it on the National Mall with Women Connect for Good, and National Women's History Museum is helping make it happen. And then having Sawyer who's trans, and I'll let you speak to that, but bringing together all the different groups that are having their rights being taken away from this country, but in a positive reframing, a new kind of monument that we can stand together. And the ERA Coalition just said this line, so all together now, but just like all come together to show this country that we are united and we are a part of this country and that we matter. And I'm sure Sawyer has lots to add to that as well.
And that's absolutely the reason that we are doing this, is because we want people to know there are great things going on. There's great collaborations and partnerships. And you and I both know, we all know that we're not going to get anywhere alone, and that the finish line is there. We just need to go together and do that. But so get with it. Come on, talk to us.
I think, I mean, echoing everything that's been said, I feel like the key elements right now are maintaining joy throughout all of. Got to keep together in celebrating and joy as much as possible, because there's so much negative coming at us, and we've got to embrace the joy and be together. The coalition, as we've all been saying, it's the only way that we're going to get any of this done. I mean, and we're all from different groups facing such similar things right now, such similar blocks, such similar struggles, and it's all part of a bigger thing. Like, it's not happening in isolation. Every bill that's happening is very strategic. It's happening. The same people are bringing up bills against trans people as are bringing up bills against abortion. I mean, it's happening in like sort of a really big, broad stroke. And some of it has happened very quickly. I think the trans stuff has happened very quickly, but it's tracking very similarly to what the reproductive freedom fight has been for the last several years. And it's started in some places, in some states, and then all of a sudden it's bumping up, and now it's in a lot of states. And if the next couple of elections don't go well, it'll be everywhere. And we're just like, we're on the same journeys. We've got the same goals. We've got the same needs. And I think we've all learned the lesson in different ways. For me, I learned it in college when I was in a group of queer people, and we were miserable in a largely straight culture. And then there was a group of Black people in the room next to us, and they were miserable in a largely culture. And we said, hey, let's do this thing together. And we formed an alliance, and it was so powerful. And we got so much stuff done. We made so much change happen on that campus in a matter of 6 months. As soon as we got together, we just doubled our voice. We doubled our power in a matter of one connection. And that's what we're doing here. We're doing that on like such a rippled scale.
Well, your company is called Let It Ripple. And like I said, though, the point is that there are so many of us that want it's a common denominator. We want a better world to live in. We want great healthcare. We want good education. We want our communities to be safe. We want our children to be able to grow up in a world that there is a climate that they can live in and grow in and raise their children in generation after generation. I think we all want the same thing, but the key is many of us don't know what we want. We know what we want, but we don't know how we're going to get it. And we don't know the people that can help us to get it as well. And so that's why I became a part of the National Women's History Museum, because there's so many things, and you all know this because you're historians as well, that we've been given a bill of goods, and we don't have the history of where we've come from and the abundance that we come from, and women especially, that we've come from a place of abundance. It's not scarcity. We have talents and abilities, and we can build on those, but we have to keep letting people know. But right now we need to let people know the organizations that are going to help us all to get to the finish line, which is, again, a better world for us to live in.
And, I'm really glad you brought up the idea of abundance. And just to let listeners know what we're talking about and we're inviting any listener in to join us in Washington, D.C., November 1st through 4th, either in person or online. And we'll have links where you can find out about it afterwards. But to come together around a new kind of monument, this feminist history tree ring. And speaking of abundance, the very first line on the tree ring, there's 30 points. And
can you show it to us?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. It's
I
I'm
don't
like,
think anybody understands it till they see it.
I know, I know.
You have seen
I
it, but
remember, I will
people are
never.
scratching their heads and going, what, and you may, dendrofeminology.
Okay,
What?
you're right. So I will never forget, Nancy. Actually, I think I was on your podcast, and after I was working on this art piece, and I remember having such a connection with you, and I loved everything you were talking about, and I hadn't even finished it. I don't think I had shown it to anyone. I'm like, Nancy, I want to show you something I'm working on, and I'm going to show. Oh, I think I need, if I can be able to share my screen, I can show everyone. Melissa, I think if you just enable my screen share. Anyways, I'll show it in a second, but like one of those tree rings you see at the entrance of any national park, a slice, but I rewrote it to be about feminist history. And I don't think I can share my screen. Okay.
And I don't think I can either. So
Okay.
Melissa's not on this call. So
okay. Well,
we're in trouble. I'm in trouble. Melissa's
no,
not.
Oh no, I know what I can do. Wait, I have a very old school way. I think I have.
How about just a picture?
Picture. Let's see if I have.
Do I have?
We can try the old ways.
I'm gonna show you, just like you're gonna see. So this is like the feminist history tree ring, and it's gonna be on the National Mall.
That's good.
But the first line that I have on there is 50,000 years ago, women were worshipped as goddesses in almost every civilization, which is a much stronger place to start the story than we are coming from behind. And then 10,000 years ago, I talk about how women were shamans and leaders, and multiple genders were respected, which is something that Sawyer taught to me, that was a common thing. It wasn't unusual that there was multiple genders. And so just kind of reminding where we are at this exact moment in history. Well, first of all, we need to be fully engaged in our democracy and make a physical stand in person in DC and online to engage with it. But also we have to kind of fight for what we want, because if you go to Washington, DC, I mean, there's no monuments except for white men, and maybe there's a couple others, but we have to be represented. And I know Sawyer feels that way too. I don't know if you want to add there.
Even if we don't share everything in common, we share ideologies in common, we share a lot of ideas in common, and we're representing each other.
I think we're more alike than we are different. And I think that's really difficult for some people to even conceive of. Even men and women, they've done research, they've done studies, but men and women are more alike than they're different. But they're going, oh no, that's not possible. But we've got to come to that understanding. But we all, basically most of us, want the same thing. Mm-hmm. We want to live in a safe, good community with like-minded people who care and want to make sure that we have good lives. We're happy. I mean, there's nothing different about that. All right, let's just talk about some of the things that are so important that we're going to be kind of helping people to understand, giving them information, giving them choices. And I think that's what it is making sure people have choices. You cannot make good decisions without information, but then you have a choice what you're going to do with that information. So let's just talk about some of the things that we're all hoping to really help a large mass of people understand, and that we're all important. There's no one any more special or different than one another, but everybody has to come together. So
I mean, the education of the ERA amendment. The ERA amendment has been ratified, needs to be published, and it would protect everyone. And I mean, and Sawyer and I often kind of marvel how it's not. Most people, first of all, a lot of people still understand that the equal right, that corporations have more rights than women alone in the United States, and that it has been reintroduced into and not published for years now. But I think one thing that was really interesting to us is that the younger generation doesn't really understand how it really does include LGBTQ, trans. I mean, it's protecting everyone.
But everything. Equality.
And once again, it's an example. Yeah. And once again, an example of abundance, not scarcity, and building on the past. So it's taken 50 years, we know, to get the ERA to where it is now. It shouldn't have taken 50 years, but also several markers have happened in the meantime that are making it so that when the ERA is published, it does protect trans rights. It does protect LGBTQ plus rights. It does protect those things. And those are all sort of there are different acts that have happened over time and different statements that have been made over time that make that all happen. And so it's why this project is very much the past, present, and future. It's building on it's that abundance piece. It's building on everything that has happened to date today, doing what today, and then passing it on to the future, which is why so much of this activation is intergenerational. It's intersectional and intergenerational.
Yeah.
There's such wisdom from folks older than me. There's such wisdom and there's such energy.
There always has been. We just haven't been listening and we haven't been hearing about it. Well, Tiffany, you and I had this conversation. Your daughter, what is she, 20, 21? Well, she 20. Was with you in the room and we were talking about the ERA, and she was saying what's more important to her and her generation is reproductive justice and reproductive rights. But it still goes back to the same thing. You know, the rights, my rights of my body and what I do with it is my business. It's not the government's business. It's nobody's business, not the state's business. And so, you know, these are things. And then Tiffany, I think you said something, I think it was very profound. You said, when I was my daughter's age, I had more reproductive rights than she has now in the year 2023. That is bizarro. You know, and I know where I've come from just to get rights. And you know, I mean, and now you're just like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And so it's time for us to all calm down and then get in a place that we can sit down, have great discussions and talk about the possibilities and as well as the solutions and the options. And this is what we're going to try.
And I do believe, you know, it's interesting because I do, those that can be physically come to DC, there's a real power in coming physically together. I mean, I was in the march in DC in 2016, and it was very powerful. And I think that, you know, all the internet and all this is great, but there are certain moments where you need to physically come, feel our nation's capital, feel that we are going to make change together, meet your allies, make coalitions, like that we need that physical energy. And so I'm excited. We have amazing partners. Of course, Women Connect for Good, the National Women's History Museum, Planned Parenthood, Feminist Majority Foundation, you know, ERA Coalition, Vote Pro-Choice, Female Coalition. We have so many. I mean, there's a beautiful list on our site, and it is growing. And I think that's really exciting. Even I would say probably in the last 3 months, I've met more amazing people to do things with and to share their message and vice versa. And I think that we need to, the biggest thing is to really come together and make some progress.
Well, today is an invitation. Let's just say that. The more that we talk about it, the more organizations and people that we have involved, it's going to be better for us all. And so today is an invitation. So tell us what the invitation might look like.
Yeah, well, it is November 1st through 4th. So November 1st is a Wednesday. That's Native American Heritage Month kickoff. So we will do a ceremony to acknowledge the land. We will also, there'll be a screening of some of our films that deal with these issues. Then we're going to have, over the course of 4 days, we're going to have speakers. We're going to have tours of the Black Feminist Show at the MLK Library that the National Women's History Museum has up right now. There's going to be an ERA coalition convening. There might be a dinner party. There might be a silent disco on the mall. We are going to bring joy, energy, ideas,
a parade
by an artist. We're going to have we had a great call with Ballot Ready, which is an organization that basically researches every race on the ballot. There's over 93,000. And we're excited to kind of show people how many races there are and really kind of inspire and galvanize people. So it's an invitation to show up in person or online. You can we're gonna have a live stream, so you can participate online. And I think it's gonna give a collective shot in all of our arms. Sorry, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, you really in person or online, we're live streaming, but also we're still figuring out the details of it. But our dream is that people will be able to actually like zoom into the National Mall and be part of this experience, and not just the live stream one way, like really have an engaging experience, whether you're at home or on the National Mall with us. You can show up anywhere you are. That's the beauty of it. Show up. That's what we're asking. Show up and be part of it, and be part of pushing all this forward, because we can do it if we all show up.
And you know what? It's going to be so much fun. And I think that's what we all want back in our lives. We want positive things back in our lives. We want some fun. We want some joy. And we want to spend time with people who are positive about the future. And that's what we are. We're excited and we're positive about the future. So we've got a couple more minutes. But
one thing I was going to say one thing is that was what I think working on these tree rings was so interesting, is when you go back 50,000 years and you see overall we're going in the right direction. It might feel backwards right now in the United States, but even though we have reverted on reproductive justice, 65 other countries have legalized abortion. And so it's like, even though we haven't had a woman president, 86 other countries have. And so I always think it's really good to zoom in and out in time, which is why history is so important, to understand we actually are moving forward. We just have to push a little harder. And I want to say one thing, because Nancy, you are such a supporter and leader in this space, and it's incredible. And I think that, there's a lot of visions people have, and then to make them happen, you need the support. And I think, I'm incredibly grateful, because you're very exciting to work with. And, I think the world needs more people like you that really make shit happen.
Well, and again, selfishly, this is really for me and for my daughters as well. So I think, I grew up in a time where women, girls and women were not valued at all the way they should have been. And I was a tomboy. I mean, the best way for me to manage my life back then was just to be the tomboy, to let the boys come to my house, not to date me, but come and get me, because I can kick the ball further than most boys. But and I want my daughters and their daughters and all their daughters or sons. I want everyone to live in a world that, it's a wonderful place to be. And when we go to another country or another part of the world, that we'll be proud again to be who we are. I want to be proud again.
That's a real feeling when you're traveling around the world. Like, I would love that pride.
I mean, Mexico yesterday just decriminalized abortion in the whole country. Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got some work to do, but it's all going to be for the best, and we've got some great people jumping on board. So we're sending the invitation out to anyone who believes they can join the party, but join the movement and be a part of something very, very special, and making some great history that we can all be very, very proud of. So, all right. So where do they go? How did they get the information?
I'll say that. letitripple.org/DC. You can go there and sign up very easily, and we'll just ask you whether you want to, if you think you're going to come in person or online, and then we'll get you all the information. Super simple form. And then we'll be, of course, we're going to be all over social. Keep your eye out for,
and spread the word. If you know people in DC, if you know other groups or people that would be into this, please spread the word.
Yeah. Well, and that Women Connect for Good will be out pounding the pavement, and of course with the National Women's History Museum. I think Fred is she's got things moving in the right direction. So I'm excited. I can't wait for this to happen. And I think we're on November 4th, we'll be just standing around, just squeezing each other and squeezing ourselves as to just something wonderful just happened. That's really leading to the next step.
And I think, one of the biggest things I feel is that, it's good for us all to come together and feel that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. Yeah. So right now it feels like something bigger than ourselves is taking things away from us. But when we come together and be part of something bigger than ourselves for a more just world, a better world, it's incredibly powerful, and it reverberates in your life. Like, I still feel that feeling of being on the march in DC, that power of us coming together. So I'm really excited to create another activation that's very different than like a large scale march, but very visually significant and bringing a lot of key stakeholders together.
Well, there'll be a lot of visual, a lot of things will come out of this, and I'm excited. But you guys are fantastic. I mean, it's great to be. It's great. It's a great party. I've got a Doberman. She wants to get on the video too.
I have a dog that's like,
You're fantastic. And the beauty of the coalition is that everybody brings in so many different strengths. That's why it all works. That's why it's all powerful. That's why it's
Well,
fun.
we're not done talking about it, but we'll get the information on the website. We'll continue to put the word out, but you haven't seen the last of me yet, that's for sure. This is wonderful. I love you guys.
Love
We
you.
love you. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye-bye.
If you enjoy these smart, amazing conversations, please subscribe, rate, and review them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And read and enjoy more amazing stories in my books, In This Together, How Successful Women Support Each Other in Work and Life, and Leading Women, 20 Influential Women Share Their Secrets to Leadership, Business, and Life. Thank you for listening.